Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name is Megan and I love Harry Styles. Don't we all? I've also had a fashion blog since 2012. Since coming to college, that blog has turned into something that I call ACTEEVISM. So I talk all about sustainable fashion, sustainable lifestyle, and how to be a more conscious consumer. This week, Harry's second album comes out, which is thrilling. But when new music comes out, that means new merch, that means more tours, which means more merch. And because I like Harry Styles and I like to have his merch, but I also care about how my clothes are made, I find myself in a kind of a sticky situation. I know nothing about how Harry's clothes are made. Nothing. Zero. And I've tried doing my research. I want to know more about it. So this video is somewhat of an open letter to Harry Styles and Live Nation Merch, who makes his merchandise, and I just want to talk about why it's important to have sustainably and ethically made merchandise and what you can do as a conscious consumer and fan of Harry Styles or fan of whatever band to make sustainable change in the music industry. So I'm asking, Harry Styles, Live Nation merchandise, who made my clothes? If you've never heard of the Who Made My Clothes movement, let me break it down for you a little bit. You'll most often see the Who Made My Clothes hashtag being used in April during a week called Fashion Revolution Week. That week is a time to remember the lives that were lost in the Rana Plaza factory collapse in Bangladesh. On April 24th, 2013, over 1,000 garment workers died, over 2,500 garment workers were injured at this circle of factories in Rana Plaza. And this terrible event happened despite the fact that garment workers had voiced concerns about cracks in the foundation of the building to their management that very week. There were 5 different garment factories in Rana Plaza, all of which manufactured clothing for global brands. Brands like Joe Fresh, The Children's Place, JCPenney, brands that are known as fast fashion. As tragic as that event was, it really sparked a greater conversation in the fashion industry about garment workers' rights, their safety, just the way that factories should be run. For the past 5 years, I've been really dedicated to sustainable and ethical fashion. Obviously, I talk about it on my blog, but I've also decided to get a master's degree in supply chain management so that I can have practical knowledge about everything that happens in the fashion supply chain to try to prevent events like this from happening again. It has always been really important for me to just treat garment workers with the dignity and respect that they deserve, and not to quote Harry or anything, but treat them with kindness. There are people all throughout the fashion supply chain that are just not treated fairly. They're not listened to, they're not paid fairly, they're subjected to unsafe working conditions, and if we're buying those clothes, we're contributing to that. So I've spent my whole college career and now my graduate career really dedicating myself to learning about this, and there's a lot that people don't know. Some of the statistics that have really stuck with me are that 80% of garment workers are women. 80%. I call myself a feminist. Harry Styles also calls himself a feminist. When we're talking about intersectional feminism, we need to be including garment workers in that. Not only are most garment workers women, but if you think about the whole stretch of the fashion supply chain, 1/6 of the world population is involved in the textile and fashion industry. That's a lot of people that could be treated with kindness. A lot of people. Something I've unfortunately learned through my supply chain education is that a lot of times companies will choose to produce items where the labor cost is the lowest. Companies often value profit over everything else, so they're going to choose to go to the country that has the lowest labor costs. That's just the optimal business decision. The problem is the minimum wage in most garment producing countries is rarely enough to live on. Even then, and I want to get this statistic right, over 50% of garment workers in countries like India and the Philippines are paid well below minimum wage. And to get specific, this t-shirt's made from cotton. It doesn't say organic cotton, it just says 100% cotton on the tag. Approximately 300 million people who produce cotton are living in poverty. And perhaps the most powerful fact I will say in this video, paying living wages to garment workers would add just 1% on average to the retail price of a clothing item. 1%. Now, I bought this tee for, what, $40? 1% of $40 is nothing. Nothing. That's nothing. It's insane to me that we're not already doing this. That was just some fast facts and things that I thought were relevant to this video. Obviously, there are a lot more resources online. The True Cost is a great documentary. It's on Netflix. Hassan Minhaj's last episode of Patriot Act about fast fashion, excellent. A lot of good facts there. Podcasts like Conscious Chatter talk a lot about these issues. There are so many resources online. So I'm sure you're wondering by now, how does Harry Styles and his merchandise fit into this whole topic? Normally, Who Made My Clothes kind of campaigns revolve around fast fashion brands, which I completely understand because they're not good for the earth or the people that make their clothes. But I also think that concert merchandise is a problem. If you think about all of the t-shirts that are created just for a tour, they get shipped from venue to venue, or after a tour is over and they have extra merch, nobody really wants to buy it. Or if you make concert specific tees, like I know on Harry's last tour, he had t-shirts at every venue that had the specific date printed on it. What if you don't sell all the ones that you thought you were going to sell? Nobody wants a t-shirt with a date of a concert that they didn't go to. That's really wasteful. And also if you think about concert merchandise, like, people need to wear clothes. People do not need to wear artist merchandise. If you need a shirt, you're gonna go to a clothing store. You're not gonna go online to your favorite artist's page and buy their shirt if it's a necessity. So people are buying concert tees because they want to and because they can. A lot of times a barrier to sustainable and ethical fashion for people is the cost. Yeah, those clothes are more expensive. And there are ways to get around that, and there are ways to shop consciously on a budget. But if you think about concert merch, people have a much higher willingness to pay. I would think twice before buying a $40 t-shirt from a regular sustainable brand. But I didn't do much thinking twice before buying this shirt at his last concert. I wanted this t-shirt, it was a memento from the tour, so I bought it. So this is an industry that is not necessary. Nobody needs concert merchandise. We want it, we don't need it. So why not do everything that you can to make it sustainably and ethically? It just seems like a no-brainer. And let's say your argument is it's going to be more expensive. People already have a way higher willingness to pay for concert tees. And like that statistic said, if all it takes to pay somebody ethically to make this t-shirt is to up the price of the t-shirt by 1% of the retail price, I would pay that in the blink of an eye. I might even buy 2 shirts. No, I wouldn't, because I'm a conscious consumer. And with all this said, who's to say that Live Nation merch isn't already doing great things? I don't know. I can't find the information, and I've tried. I looked all over their website. I looked on the tag of the shirt. All it says is that it's 100% cotton and made in Nicaragua. I don't know where the cotton's being sourced from. Obviously it's not organic, so that's problematic. I don't know much about the garment industry in Nicaragua, so I can't really comment on that, but I just can't find information. And I even went the extra step and emailed Live Nation merch asking about this. And that was last month, and I haven't heard a response. And they said in the email, if you follow up too many times, you'll get pushed down in the line of when they respond to you. So no, I didn't follow up. As a successful artist that has this really positive platform, Harry has such an opportunity to be game-changing in this industry. Like, the reason that I'm not asking every singer that's on tour about this is because I feel like Harry's message of treating people with kindness inherently goes along with treating garment workers with kindness and treating the planet with kindness. Like, I don't think that this is something he'd be against. And I don't think that fans would be upset if the merch was sustainably and ethically made. I won't be buying merch on the upcoming tour because I don't know how it's made. So, Live Nation merch, coming from a business major and a supply chain master's student, you are losing out on merch opportunity. But if you put in the effort to have this merchandise sustainably and ethically made, you will see a payoff. As Harry is beginning to release more merchandise with the release of his album and as he's going on tour, I want to know more about how this merchandise is made. I'm not asking for him overnight to produce everything ethically and sustainably, but I, at least as a consumer, want some type of transparency. I want to know who makes this stuff, what kind of factories, if there are any certifications. I also want to know if there are any environmental certifications. This is a dyed yellow t-shirt. Is this dye being treated before it's excreted as wastewater, or is all of that toxic dye being just dumped into a local river that people rely on to drink water? I don't know. I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything bad. I just want to know. If anybody understands how complicated this is, it's me. I spend all of my free time trying to learn about the fashion supply chain and how I can make a difference. And I'm almost done with my master's in global supply chain management, where I've learned literally just how complicated this whole thing is. I just want to know more. So I'm using my platform to ask this question publicly, and if this resonates with any of you and you want to know also how your merch is made, whether it's for Harry or another artist, I will leave the website down below where I ask these questions, and I encourage you to tweet or to post on Instagram or whatever social media you use to use the hashtag #WhoMadeMyClothes and tag Harry Styles and Live Nation merch. And even his record label, like hell, tag everybody. Get the word out. Like, start a conversation. This is something that's important to you, say it. Because otherwise the companies aren't going to know and they're going to continue as business as usual. So, and little self-plug here, Live Nation merch, if you need somebody to help you with traceability, I graduate in May. Basically, that's all I had to say. I obviously think this is important. Last year when I wrote that open letter on my blog and posted about it on Instagram, it got a lot of support. So I think that this is something that people who like Harry care about. Just in honor of Fine Line coming out, I wanted to reopen this conversation and hopefully spark some kind of change. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in my next video. And don't forget to treat people with kindness.